That way a little more. Hello. Hi, everyone. Yay, we're together again.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. Just flies in.
You have like... oh, yeah. I'm trying to work on that. It's not working.
Oh, no, it's perfect. I can meet you there anywhere.
Oh. Good morning.
Hi. Nice to see you.
You too.
I guess the last time we saw each other, we were finishing ceremony. That was pretty profound.
Yeah.
I saw you shared a little bit with the group. Yeah, which was...
Yeah, it was nice to come back from that and just, again, I just like called myself out of bed and was just like, okay, let's do this, because for some reason that's my rhythm right now.
Well, yeah, and you know, we were asked to share it, right? We were asked to tell the stories, and you know, you have this beautiful platform with people who would be, you know, receptive to it as well. So glad you did. Glad you did. Yeah, it's hard to put it into words, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was journaling each night, just trying to capture just all the threads of thought that just wanted to get in there.
Yeah, good that you did.
That's one of my vital life tools.
Yeah.
Is my journal.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah, my journal and drawing and just trying to express myself in those quiet moments, you know? Like, I spent a lot of years not journaling, and then it was really important at a certain point to like actually start recording what was happening. And when I did start recording, I felt a little bit of grief that I had stopped because a lot had happened that just kind of happened, and yet it was meant to be. Right?
I hear you, though. To hold on to the memories, because there's so much life happening, and I don't know if you feel the same, but it definitely feels faster for me in moments, and so. Yeah, integrating the memory and, you know, through word, through color, through smell, through objects, yeah, all these things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're talking about vital life tools again, and that really, you know, makes a lot of sense. I mean, for me, creating an altar with these different objects that, you know, like all the quarters they gave me for witnessing, and just having the altar set up, I think was kind of what I wanted to do for myself to ground. Yeah.
I love that you bring that in, creating altars. Yeah. I definitely did that too.
Yeah.
I have a mantle in my room that was mostly empty, and when I came home it was just like like all these things that they all carry the vibration and the resonance of the experience, right? Yeah. So, you know,
did you put your little water sample?
Oh yeah, my water's right there. Yeah, that's still in the room with me. I have some really interesting sacred waters from different places that also... I'm kind of an altar creator. I have a lot of altars.
That's okay.
I live in an altered state.
No, that's okay. Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Well, it's not an embodying, but a representing of the sacred, right?
Yeah.
A physical placement of that which is sacred, so that my eyes see it and it interfaces with me in some ways. So I had the crystal that I had there, and the jewelry that I had, and like little sacred things, and the water. Yeah, and altars are really interesting because they do create this visual like montage of what happened, and it kind of lasts for as long as it lasts, and then things start to move in a different direction, right? So they don't have to be static.
Absolutely. Yeah, really cool. You know, I'm just still quite reflective of everything that, you know, came, because there was rounds of ceremony, and you did the sweat lodge, and then later I did the medicine prayer day. I don't know how to describe it, but it was being in ceremony all day. And I'm still very reflective of it. And since we're talking about altars and whatnot, it was really interesting because when I arrived to the prayer circle, I was like, oh, I didn't bring my things, to have it here with me, and really got the message too that, like, all that we need is ourselves as well, right? Yeah. But I still, went outside and gathered the male female holly branches and a rock from the fire ring and a piece of cedar, and brought that in with me, and those were very anchoring. And then I put the rock back, and I have the holly with me. But yeah, the message was again like, yeah, we really, we just, things are important and they help us, but then they're also just, like you said, transient and moving, and we're the common denominator. So I guess in a way too, it's like trusting that information is with us. It's interesting because you
like
you
that
can
we're enough.
Yeah, that we're enough, and that we do forget things in a way, and so having objects to remind us are important. But I don't know, it's such an interesting inside outside.
I find that really interesting that you're bringing in that just when you're talking about the holly and the cedar as well, because that just sort of reminded me of the homeopathic remedies as well.
Yes.
Right? Because there are these elements from the world, and we are part of the world, we're of the world, we're in the world.
Yes.
And we're also not of this world. There's sort of all those elements at play, and so I liked how you said that they're like things to reach for that are anchoring, that ground you, and maybe that's something we could talk about today a little bit, is about things, grounding.
Yeah, well, exactly, because one of the other vital life tools that I feel is so simple, and I was doing during the ceremony was just walking outside barefoot, right? And it was freezing because there's still snow on the ground, and it's so wet that when I was stepping on the grass, it was like I was sinking like 2 inches into the earth, and like the cold water was like going through my toes, and it was a shock, not a shock, but it was a wake up, and a real, reminder of how beautiful it is to be barefoot in the earth because of that electromagnetic feedback. So it just helped me really in that moment. And it's, beautiful to as you say, like, we are a part of the earth, we are of the earth, but then we also have these immaterial aspects of us that are, endless and vast and universal and out of this world. So I just find a vital life tool that I really like to use is walking barefoot, because then we're here and there, everywhere, all at once. I don't know.
I had that experience too on Sunday when I went to the sweat lodge, because we were barefoot, and so what you were talking about that incredible cold, so that reminds me of one of the wonderful teachings that we learned about being uncomfortable. Wow. Like that was a really big one. So I think I'd like to share that for a second, because it was really profound in that one of our elders was sharing with us the value of being uncomfortable. And then in our modern world, what we're seeking is comfort, greater and greater and greater comfort, which has got us more and more disconnected from spirit. And when we let our bodies get uncomfortable, we're actually waking up our spirits. Being hungry or cold or
barefoot
too hot or whatever actually actually being uncomfortable is an access point to waking up our spirits. And so it was that in itself, that conversation was a huge wake up for me from always seeking comfort, warmth, sleep, all the nice, cozy food, all the things, and all that we have. And it was a really interesting paradigm shift for me to actually realize that what would it be like for me to actually reach for discomfort? Wow, that was just turned everything on its head for me. So taking off my feet and standing on the cold earth and walking down to the very cold river and jumping in, and all those things were like, I'm welcoming my spirit and I'm welcoming feeling alive, waking myself up. It was so interesting to lean into it instead of running from it.
Yeah. Absolutely, right?
Excuse me.
And absolutely. Absolutely. Like, and when you're in discomfort, then, doing, the HeartMath tools, the Vital Life tools there around the quick coherence, regulating your heart rate, through breath, concentrating in the area of the heart, because the heart actually has brain cells in it, brain tissue in its physiological design, and the heart actually sends more information to the brain than the brain does the entire body. And so it's profound. And so that's why regulating your heart rate then allows, the different brain frequencies to activate or deactivate, right? So in a situation where you were in the, for myself, being in the temple is very warm, the fire was going, similar to the sweat lodge, probably. But then going out into the cold, I really was like, okay, activate that coherence exercise, because then it really does allow you to be uncomfortable, but to be in a regulated state, to serve and feel, like you said, your spirit, or, the gifts of that discomfort, or to witness, the emotions that come up from that discomfort, but from a place of, coherence, so that you can receive that feedback from your own field, your own system. And, again, self-awareness comes from that, and that is the key to healing. But definitely, if you're feeling discomfort, really working those tools of getting into self-regulation and coherence, it can feel like a challenge. Like if you're lifting a weight and you're just like doing this when you're feeling your bicep, it's the same kind of thing in the beginning. But as you kind of get more and more practice with it, it comes quicker. And definitely in discomfort, being present, and because if we're uncomfortable, then our fight or flight can get triggered. Or, I also learned freeze is an instinct, fawning is an instinct, fine is an instinct, like I'm fine. Oh, right.
Oh, and another one,
F. Right? Yeah, another F. And so, we can easily go into those, our amygdala can kick in and hijack, our awareness and our ability to receive the gifts from the discomfort, right? So, that, quick coherence tool, which is just breathing through the heart and coming into...
I was going to say that. Can we do that right now?
It's a really beautiful...
I think it's one we can repeat.
Yeah. Repeat, right? And the more we do it together, I find the easier it is in the beginning, right? Because energetically we feed each other, we give and we receive from each other. And so if you ever need to, practice this coherence, being together, even just with one other person, makes a huge difference. So let's do that. So so it's
remind us how it goes.
So so you can have your eyes open or closed, whatever you feel comfortable with. The idea of this practice is that you can do it on the go. So So wherever you are right now, whatever's safest and the most comfortable, you can either close your eyes or keep them open. But just start focusing in the area of the heart and breathing in and out rhythmically. Just whatever feels comfortable for you. And we're just really going inward with our attention. Just remember, we're slowing down our heart rate here. And sending to the messages to the brain that all is well and we can relax, put down our defenses. And if you notice your mind is really busy, that's okay. But one way to access this coherence is through appreciation. So appreciating a person, your pet, a moment, yourself. And this isn't an intellectual appreciation. We're evoking a feeling. The feeling of appreciation. So I really appreciate being here with Sarah, and I can just really tap into this feeling of gratitude for her and for our connection, and it helps me feel that, and with each breath we're spreading that feeling throughout the body. Smile helps, and if your mind pulls you out of it with your tasks for the day, that's okay. So just more practice, more opportunity. So if you need to, sometimes it's just appreciating your feet on the ground, or looking out your car window and seeing a tree and appreciating that tree. It's very simple, but it's a feeling you're looking to activate. And your imagination will kick in, and it'll, as if you're in that moment that you're appreciating. So just to clarify, if you're in the moment and you're seeing a tree or your feet on the ground, that's one way of activating the appreciation. But if you're recalling like what it feels like to hold your granddaughter or to pet your animal, you know, that feeling, it's like that appreciation of love and care. That's where your imagination will bring you back to that moment, and you can really sink into that feeling. And I really feel it in my shoulders and back. It just, everything relaxes, and I kind of get pulled energetically back. So I'm really in alignment in my spine. And when I feel that happen, I know I'm in coherence.
Cool.
Do you have any reflection, like, from what you experience?
I found that being in appreciation just made a smile come to my face.
Yeah.
I didn't have to try to smile.
Yeah.
It was just like thinking and imagining that which I'm grateful for, and I like the distinction of appreciation, because it's a little bit different than gratitude. It's active. It's like, I don't know. It's like appreciating something is just like bringing it to my mind's eye and just feeling that feeling of gratitude for what I'm appreciating. So. I don't know,
And it's a frequency. Yeah, it's a frequency, right? And that frequency in the body relaxes the nervous system, relaxes, you know, and it's an activation, like you were describing, appreciating, right? It's an active feeling. So it opens movement within the nervous system, within the fascia network, within, our bloodstream. And it really does change physiology, right? Because it releases DHEA hormone, which is our rejuvenating hormone in the body, versus cortisol. We need cortisol, but too much can be depleting on the body and degenerating, right? So it really is like not just it's not just an idea or a concept. It really has physiological effects that can be measured, and what we don't realize is that stress has long-term effects. So if your body gets spiked into a stress response and you have the ability to bring it down, the thing is that stress kind of ripples out in the physiology for some time, and that's why it can be insidious and it can be draining over a long period of time. And so, really practicing this rejuvenating release of DHEA, and it really is life preserving on that physical level. It's not just spiritual. Our emotions really do affect our health physically. So it is really not just a concept. It really is a vital life tool. It really is preserving your vitality, and to be aware of it is the key, because sometimes, like I said earlier, we can get snapped into these fight or flight stress responses so quickly, and we don't notice, or we may notice and we may do a quick coherence exercise, but it's really understanding the long-term effects, and so this practice, how important it is to repeat it, right? So even though we just did it now, the benefit of repeating it is also really important, if that makes sense. Just to
just do it again and again and again.
And then eventually maybe it's just always there,
right?
But we're human and we're interfacing with our environment and others, and that's just a constant motion of energy, right? And so really after being in the temple and being in prayer for 10 hours, I'm like, oh yeah, I never want to leave here. But that's not reality, right? So
I remember hearing once that the average thought lasts only a couple of seconds, and that if we have recurring thoughts, it's because we're choosing them again and again and again every few seconds, so that this is a way to actually disrupt that and think thoughts of appreciation on purpose to rewire the brain.
Absolutely.
Right? Change the ruts. And also, when you were talking about DHEA, isn't that something that you can buy in a bottle at the store?
Yes.
Okay, so I love that this is a way to actually generate that from within our bodies instead of going and taking a pill.
Well, and that's it.
Amazing.
That's it. That is it. And so we take DHEA supplement for mental health issues, for different physical issues, but we can generate it naturally.
Wow.
And that is how we can heal ourselves.
That's amazing.
It's just
that's like the coolest piece of information of the day.
I know. And that's what I love about the HeartMath Institute, because they really, and the reason why they call it HeartMath is because they wanted it to be something that could be measured, that's accumulative, like they could have scientific proof of these results, and so that they could bring it into circles like the UN and the Veteran Affairs, the VA in the US. They teach hospitals and medical staff these concepts, so they bring it into arenas where people might be like not in alignment with or don't resonate naturally with meditation, or, you know, they're too busy to sit in a lotus position and, you know,
spend hours.
Yeah, it's like, so how do we bring it into this real life way that's digestible? And, you know, I love how they deliver it, and I'm, you know, going to be teaching the classes online and going through going through some of these real steps, because they have lots of different tools that help us recognize and become self-aware and understand really what's happening in the physiology, so to take some sovereignty over our ability to heal ourselves, you know. And they do it in this way that's so easy to understand and so manageable, you know, constantly going up against, like, you know, people always say, oh, that's so woo-woo, you know. and now more and more
you're talking to the woo-woo club.
Yeah. But we know it's not woo, it's very real
That's
life.
right.
This is very much an important part of our human existence. But for some people who are more in the intellectual brain and in that wheel of that's what success, it can be really hard to say, hey, like, focus in the area of the heart, you know, and take a few breaths, and that's going to make a difference. No, HeartMath really needed to bring it into, you know, that science intellectual level that's relatable for a lot of people, a lot more people. So that's why I really appreciate their training.
Yeah, that's super cool. Well, I definitely noticed it in myself right away. It's kind of fun when you were sharing it. It's just like, oh yeah, we should just do that again. Like, even though we've already talked about it and you've already demonstrated it before, hey, demonstrate it every time.
Yes, because it does take practice. And so if anyone has questions about what I'm describing, definitely let us know. But remember, it's not an intellectual, like, sometimes people do visualizations in meditation, which is very beautiful and effective, but not everyone can really go there. It's like, you know, so
we have different abilities.
Yeah. And so I guess what I'm saying is to remember that we're activating a feeling. It's not necessarily a visualization or something you need to imagine in order to get the benefit from. We're talking about a feeling that you have already felt, right? Petting your pet, loving your friend, loving nature, being in a moment where you felt really brave and you felt really aligned with your heart. Like, again, I'll go back to my memory of being in the temple, because and I'll feel it, because our brains don't know if it's last week or now or in the future. That's why we can have depression and anxiety, right? Depression is thinking of the past, anxiety is thinking of the future. And so, you know, if we activate that feeling, our brain doesn't know the timeline, it just knows the feeling. So hopefully that makes sense to you, that it's not something you need to imagine or you need to be in a specific time and place to get the benefit from. No, this is already within you, and we're just activating. It kind of made me emotional in that moment.
Beautiful.
Because we really do have the ability to heal ourselves, to know ourselves, and from that place, everything else is impacted, right? Like we really are like an antenna, and we're giving and receiving all the time, right? We're giving energy, we're receiving energy, we're using energy, we're replenishing energy.
Wow.
And so it is very simple, but it can take practice. And so doing it as often as you can with others is
amplifies it. Yeah.
Chokes me up. Yeah.
When you said that, when you were like, oh, I'm feeling emotional, and I was sitting here, I felt this emanation, an energy come out from you that I could feel as well.
Well, yes.
So powerful just to be reminded that we're not little robots walking around, that we're so multi-receptive, you know, on so many levels. We feel energy, we feel each other's emotions. When you said, you know, we're antenna and we're transmitting and receiving it, I could feel that sitting here next to you.
Yes.
It's so nice to be brought back into that awareness.
Yes.
Of like, just remember how we're always being reminded of how powerful we are, but also of how receptive we are. We're so, we feel so much. And because we feel so much, we also tend to shut down a lot of our receptors because the world is so loud and intense and there's so much coming at us. So to be brought back into this moment of just quiet and refinement of our senses and our feeling, it just reminded me of how much I can feel you.
It's just amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing.
You're right. And I'm just taking that in. It's one of the things that is in the Resilience Advantage program, and I'll post my link here on this conversation. Perfect. But one of the one of the exercises is understanding relational energetics. And that's just what you described, is that everybody here on the line knows when you walk into a room, you can tell if someone's like pissed, right? Or angry or uncomfortable, and you don't necessarily know why. But that's like what that person is putting out into the field, right? Because our energetic bodies interface, and that's why we're meant to be in relationship, whether it's for 5 seconds or a lifetime, because that interface gives us so much feedback. And so we have a responsibility of what we're putting out into the field. And a lot of our energy can be unconscious. We're not aware of it, right? So again, in the Resilience Advantage program, they teach this understanding of relational energetics, because it really is not woo-woo. It's a part of our human existence and our human design. And so, you know, we practice self-awareness and we practice coherence so that we're responsible for what we're putting out in the field. And we're responsible then for what we're receiving from the field and how that affects us. Is it going to drain us and create a cortisol, fight or flight, freeze, fawn, fine response? Or is it we're going to be able to witness it and receive the information, reflect on it, grow, but still remain in a coherent field, right? So this relational energetics is so cool. And, you know, I first learned about this, although I've been feeling my entire life, I really learned about this through working therapeutically with horses. So this is another vital life tool, because horses are such herd animals, herd beings. They spend all their time balancing their own energy and then the energy of the herd, so that they are in a coherent state, so that if one of them detects danger, and this is true for all animals, you know, they all know right away that there's that disturbance in the field. And so if you work therapeutically with horses, they have massive hearts, right? That's another thing. Their heart physiologically and their field is just tremendous. But if you work with people who see horses as sentient beings, you'll understand that, you know, there is this relationship, right? And so horses, through all their actions, their farts, their whinnies, their tail wags, like everything is a response to what they're feeling in the field. And for me, that was such a huge relief, because we know that humans put out energy, but we're really good at saying, no, I'm fine. But inside they're like boiling fire and putting out so much stress into the field that someone would walk in and feel that, yet they're saying they're fine, and would often say, no, you're crazy, or, you know, you're being too emotional or whatever.
That's sensitive.
Too sensitive, too woo-woo,
Wow.
But really, like, so when you work therapeutically with a horse, they won't move if they feel stress in any way. Like, I remember, my first experiences with, this, and going in, and my child, who, I don't know, was probably 8 or 10 at the time, just goes and grabs the stallion's reins and off they go. And I'm like, great, this is, I go get the mare and she will not move. Like, she is not moving, right? And the facilitator was like, okay, well, what are you feeling? Processing those emotions. It really taught me about what I was putting out into the field and how this horse was a reflection of me. And so working that way, is so powerful, because it charges you to know what you're putting out into the field and work with this incredible mirror and find that self-awareness to make a shift. And then eventually she would walk with me, and then she would stop, and then I would have to, at the time I would have gone into my coherent field, like into my heart, and probably would have really helped, but I didn't have the structure to the tool then. But eventually I got her to move. But horses are incredible for that, and that's why they use them to work with children with autism or ADHD, or these neurodivergent, like, gifted sentient souls, because there is that ability to commune and get the feedback. It's so incredible.
That's amazing. What an amazing story.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah. And there's Ember just charging off with the stallion, like, so huge, this horse, compared to this little boy, but just their energetic their energetic relationship was working for both of them.
Wow.
I know.
Amazing.
Horses are absolutely incredible that way, when you have that awareness of who they are.
I just absolutely love how you've linked that to just your experience with them and experiencing them as a mirror to teach you about what we're doing as humans with each other.
Yeah.
That's incredibly powerful. And I'm getting to, like, what you're saying is that there's absolutely no room for dishonesty or disingenuousness with a horse.
Yeah.
Like, it's all authentic.
Yeah.
They're just purely reflecting back what you are putting out from yourself. And because we have words like fine, we think that we can mask that or shield that somehow. But I love that that's just this perfectly authentic mirror.
It's incredible.
Wow.
Nature is that way, right?
And what a teacher for us of how we are being with each other.
Oh, the awareness of it is so important. Yeah.
And the potency of the field, like how important it is that this field that is around and within all of us at all times can become charged with emotion, and we can do coherence practices to discharge that energy and come into coherence with each other, come into right relationship, and build a field of love. That we actually have the power to create a field of love.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely, Sarah. Like, it's...
This is sort of what we know, but you're giving it this, like, structure and form for me.
Yeah.
It feels real.
Yes, I'm grateful for that. There, another kind of example of that is, because I do birth support, traditional kind of birth companionship, which is just a different way of doing doula support. But when you treat a mom and a newborn baby, like, they're still a unit, and they're such a reflection of each other. So with homeopathy, I recently was treating, hi Jen, I was recently just treating a newborn and her mom, and the newborn had jaundice. And, even though they're separate, I'm treating them as one, because the mom is a reflection of the baby and the baby is a reflection of the mom. And so when I'm working with homeopathy and medicines, I take both of their feedbacks and consider it one, because and so then the remedies go to the mom, and through the breast milk that information transfers to the baby, so it's very non-invasive. But the thing is I've been working with this mom and her other children for a couple of years now, and it wasn't until this baby was born and had this jaundice that really defined what the mother needed, because the mother has all these layers of filters, like you were saying earlier, and her awareness is impacted by that and what feedback she gives me. So it was really profound that this baby needed to come through to reflect what was really in the core of this mother, emotionally and physically. And now the jaundice is gone, and it was pathological jaundice, so it was quite serious. And, both of them are doing really well now, and both of their vitalities, both of their immune system, their nervous systems are so much better from taking this medicine, but also, their bond and that relationship between them is just... It's so powerful, So there's these ways of really seeing ourselves from, what we're in relationship with. Wow. And we experienced it in the ceremony. Towards the end, there was, some real opportunity in the room for us all to feel our discomfort, but to stay regulated in order to witness the moment and the teachings of the moment and what was being offered, right? Because there was a lot of different levels to what was being offered, and it really charged the room in many different ways. And I found myself needing to really regulate in order to be able to witness and support what was happening, because when we're healing, it's uncomfortable, and we're all at different places, and there's many different aspects to us as one human. So it really, I think you know what I mean, like shook up the room. But for me, it was very powerful to stay in coherent regulation, so that even through my discomfort, so that I could receive the real healing. And it has been profound since then. Yeah.
It's interesting that, we had no idea what we'd be talking about today.
Yeah, we really did.
It's interesting how, we've been talking for a couple of weeks about vital life tools mostly for self. And we've just come from this experience of being in a big group of about 100 people, more than 100 people, and self in relation to the collective, right? Yeah. That's just sort of where we've landed today. And all that we're talking about really has an impact on the world as well. Or it doesn't impact, we're reflecting what's going on globally, that we have an awareness of ourselves and what we're individually going through, and then how that is interfacing with the oneness.
Absolutely, Sarah. Yeah. I really love our conversations, and
Me too.
I feel like this energy is broadcasting out to our friends in this online group and in our physical community and beyond, and we really do have that ability to broadcast coherence, but it comes from us knowing ourselves and working through those cycles of discomfort, because every time we do that, there is gift and reward on the other side. So, and that is, I think, personal and collective benefit.
If we want to transform the world, we've got to transform ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to come from within. Yeah.
Well, it feels like a good place to finish for today.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I seem to know.
Yeah. And we can continue talking about vital life tools. For me specifically, I focus on homeopathy and heart and coherence, HeartMath teachings, and bring that into the birthing circle in order to support the bond of the mother and the baby and the family. But there's many vital life tools. The thing is that you're getting results from what you choose, right? So, and the result is really more self-awareness and more inner freedom. And if that's not happening, then you continue your pursuit. You know, if you feel a call within yourself that there is more, and that there is something you're wanting to understand, then just keep doing that and just keep following that call, because it will come for you. You know, it will show up, and we have what we need. You know, we really do. It's just a matter of being able to receive it. You know, and being aware enough to know.
I had someone tell me once that there's being aware, and then there's being awake to being aware.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. It's just like, what? Okay. Am I awake that I'm aware? Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Just let that one filter in. Mm-hmm.
Am I awake to be aware? Yeah, and I guess that could be, am I in coherence enough to be aware, right? Because if we're in any kind of stress response, we can be unaware of what's really presenting in the moment. But anyhow, yeah. Lots of love, everybody, and
thanks for being here.
Absolutely, and thanks for all that you're doing to know yourself and be responsible for what you're putting out in the field. And if you ever need help, then circle up, get together with people that can really help bring results for you. And heart shine. Have a good day.
Love you guys. Thanks for being here. Thank you.
See you next time. To be continued.
We just can keep continuing. There's no end to what we can talk about.
That's right. I know. Right. I love it.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye for now. I love the light today.
I really do think that we can